I never thought I'd end up in a place like this. Not at 75. Not while I could still dress myself, make my own coffee, and remember my daughter's birthday without help. But there I was, sitting in a pale green room that smelled like disinfectant and overcooked vegetables, listening to the hum of fluorescent lights above my head. And that's when I heard my son's voice in the hallway, the voice I'd trusted my whole life, plotting to take everything I had left. Before all this, I had a good life. Simple but good. My house, the one Richard and I bought 43 years ago, sat on a quiet street lined with oak trees. The porch swing still creaked the same way it did when our kids were small. The kitchen tiles were chipped in places, but I knew every crack like old friends. After Richard passed 5 years ago, that house became my whole world. I'd wake up to the sound of birds outside the bedroom window, water the tomatoes in the backyard, and sit on that porch swing with my coffee, watching the neighborhood wake up. My son, David, would visit on Sundays. He'd bring his wife, Linda, and their 2 boys. We'd have lunch. They'd leave. It was routine. It was comfortable. David was always the responsible one. A lawyer, stable job, nice family. He handled Richard's estate when he died. He helped me with the bills when I got confused about the new online systems. I trusted him completely. It started small. Little things I didn't think much about at the time. David began visiting more often, twice a week, then 3 times. He'd ask odd questions. Mom, have you thought about updating your will? Or do you ever feel unsafe here alone? I'd brush him off, tell him I was fine, and I was. My memory wasn't perfect. I'd forget where I put my glasses sometimes, lose track of what day it was, but nothing serious. Nothing that made me feel helpless. Then one afternoon, David brought Linda and a man in a navy suit. They introduced him as Dr. Patel, a geriatric specialist. Just a routine checkup, Mom, David said, smiling that practice smile lawyers use in courtrooms. We want to make sure you're healthy. Dr. Patel asked me questions. What year is it? Who's the president? Can you count backwards from 100 by 7s? I stumbled on a few. My hands shook a little when I held the pen to sign some forms. He wrote things down in a leather notebook, nodding slowly. She's showing signs of early cognitive decline. I heard him tell David outside. The door wasn't fully closed. Not severe, but it's there. I sat alone in the living room, staring at the wall. Cognitive decline. The words felt heavy like stones in my chest. 2 weeks later, David told me I needed to go to a facility. Just temporarily, Mom, he said, kneeling beside my chair like he was talking to a child. You'll get better care there. Physical therapy, social activities. You'll love it. I didn't want to go, but David had papers, medical recommendations, legal documents, words I didn't fully understand. Linda stood behind him, arms crossed, her face unreadable. It's for the best, she kept saying. So I went. The nursing home was called Sunrise Gardens, though there was no garden, and the sunrise barely reached through the narrow windows. My room was small, a bed, a chair, a television bolted to the wall. The nurses were kind enough, but they talked to me like I was already gone. Slow, loud. How are we feeling today, sweetheart? I spent my days sitting in that chair, watching game shows I didn't care about, waiting for David to visit. He came once, brought flowers, said he'd come back soon. He didn't. But 3 weeks in, something happened that changed everything. I was sitting in my chair one afternoon when I heard voices in the hallway. The door to my room was cracked open. The orderly had left it that way after bringing my lunch tray. I recognized David's voice immediately, and Linda's. How long until we can move forward? Linda asked. The doctors confirmed the dementia diagnosis, David said. I've got power of attorney now. We can start the transfer next week. My stomach dropped. And she won't fight it. Linda's voice was sharp, impatient. She doesn't even know what's happening, David said. There was a pause. She signed everything at Dr. Patel's office. The house goes into a trust, then we sell it. The money covers this place for a year, maybe 2. After that, Medicaid takes over. Linda laughed. Actually laughed. 2 years, David, she could live another 10. We can't wait that long. We need that money now. The boys' tuition, the vacation home. I know, David interrupted, but we have to be careful. If anyone questions the timeline, we're screwed. The key is making sure she stays here. No visitors, no one asking questions. I stopped breathing. My hands gripped the armrests of my chair so hard my knuckles went white. They kept talking about selling the house, about forging documents to speed up the process, about how grateful they were that I'd always been too trusting. David even joked about how easy it was to convince Dr. Patel to exaggerate my symptoms. I sat there, frozen, as their voices faded down the hallway. For 2 days, I didn't say a word to anyone. I couldn't. My mind was was racing, but my body felt numb. I kept replaying their conversation over and over. She doesn't even know what's happening, but I did know, and I wasn't as helpless as they thought. On the third day, I asked one of the younger nurses, a kind woman named Maria, if I could use the phone. Of course, honey, she said, wheeling a phone cart into my room. I called my daughter, Jessica. She lived 2 states away, worked long hours as a teacher, had 3 kids of her own. We didn't talk often, but when she picked up, I heard the warmth in her voice immediately. Mom, is everything okay? I told her everything. The nursing home, David, the conversation I'd overheard. My voice cracked halfway through, but I kept going. There was a long silence on the other end. Then, I'm coming. Don't sign anything. Don't talk to David. I'll be there tomorrow. Jessica arrived the next afternoon with a lawyer, a real one, not David. She'd already pulled my medical records, contacted Dr. Patel's office, and started asking questions that made people nervous. Turns out, Dr. Patel's diagnosis was based on a 15-minute conversation and a questionnaire I'd filled out while distracted and grieving. A second evaluation, done properly, showed mild memory issues, yes, but nothing that required institutionalization. Certainly nothing that justified stripping me of my autonomy. Jessica got me out of that place within a week. The power of attorney David had convinced me to sign? Invalidated. The house sale? Stopped. The trust he'd set up? Dissolved. David tried to apologize when Jessica confronted him, said he was trying to help, that he got bad advice, that he never meant to hurt me, but I saw his face. I saw the panic when he realized his plan had fallen apart. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just looked at him, this man I'd raised, this man I'd trusted with everything, and said, "You're not welcome in my home anymore. I'm back in my house now. The porch swing still creaks. The tomatoes are growing again." Jessica calls me every Sunday, and I've started seeing a therapist who helps me process what happened. Some days are harder than others. Some days I wonder how I missed the signs, how I let myself become so vulnerable. But I also learned something important. Trust isn't the same as blindness, and asking for help isn't the same as giving up control. David sent a letter last month. I haven't opened it. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I won't. For now, I'm just grateful I heard that conversation in the hallway. Grateful I had the strength to make that phone call. Grateful I didn't let them erase me, because I'm still here, and this is still my house. You know, when I tell people this story, they always ask me the same thing. How could your own son do that to you? And honestly, I've asked myself that question 1,000 times. I think sometimes people forget that their parents are still people. We're not just obstacles standing between them and an inheritance. We're not burdens to be managed or problems to be solved. We have lives, memories, dreams we haven't finished yet. Getting older doesn't mean you stop mattering. It doesn't mean your voice stops counting. What David did, what he and Linda planned, it wasn't just about stealing a house. It was about stealing my dignity, my autonomy, my right to live out my final years on my own terms. They wanted me to disappear quietly into that pale green room, to fade away while they divided up what was left of my life. But here's what they didn't count on. I was still paying attention. That's my message to anyone watching this, especially if you're getting older or caring for someone who is. Stay alert. Ask questions. Don't sign anything you don't fully understand, no matter who's asking. And if something feels wrong, even if it's coming from someone you love, trust that feeling. To the younger people watching, please don't let money turn you into someone you wouldn't recognize. Your parents' home isn't your investment property. Their savings aren't your safety net. If you're helping them, make sure you're actually helping, not just positioning yourself for a payout. And if you're someone who's been hurt like I was, betrayed by the people who were supposed to protect you, know this. It's not too late to fight back. It's not too late to reclaim your life. You are stronger than they think you are. I'm 75 years old. I have arthritis in my hands, and my memory isn't what it used to be, but I'm still here. I'm still standing, and I'm still living in my house on my terms. David took a lot from me. He took my trust. He took years of peace I'll never get back. But he didn't take everything, and that's because I refused to let him. So let me ask you this. If you overheard that conversation in the hallway, if you discovered your own child was plotting against you, what would you have done? Would you have had the strength to make that phone call? Or would you have stayed silent, hoping it was all just a misunderstanding? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please share it. You never know who might need to hear it. Because sometimes the people we need to protect ourselves from are the ones we never expected. Take care of yourselves, and take care of each other.